Coming up on the Paper Talk today, we'll be talking about Kobbie Mainoo. Is there any reports or any updates on a potential new contract? Also, Marcus Rashford, he's dominating the back pages again. Could he not be going to the Euros? Let's find out. Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it's a bit windy, so you might want to put your parkers on. Loads of stories to get through, so we'll crack on. But before we do, make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. We want to get to 750,000 subscribers by the end of the season. And with your support, yes, we can get there. The story sort of dominating the back pages this morning is one about Marcus Rashford and his England prospects. And it really does feel a little bit like a tale of two fortunes when it comes to Marcus Rashford and Kobbie Mainoo. We've seen the reports and the stories regarding Kobbie Mainoo after his performance against Belgium, his little cameo against Brazil as well, and how people feel that now he's ready. A lot of people reporting that Gareth Southgate is going to take him to the Euros and perhaps even start him in the Euros, the way he links up with Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice in that midfield and seemed to bring out the best, help bring the best out of Phil Foden as well. However, with Marcus Rashford, it is a little bit different, and this is what's sort of on the back pages of a lot of the newspapers this morning, is how Gareth Southgate might not end up taking Marcus to the Euros. I think people are lumping Marcus and Jack Grealish in the same sort of category and saying both players there could be missing out, could end up missing out on the squad when it is finally announced. Because, listen, Marcus Rashford has had a bit of an up and down season, shall we say, if we're being brutally honest. It took him a little while to get going. Hasn't scored the same amount, anywhere near the amount of goals that he had this time last year. And he has struggled, but he has still performed in some big games, got some goals in some big games. I think this season he scored against the likes of Arsenal, I think City, Liverpool, Spurs. I think he scored a lot of goals. He scored against big clubs. He just hasn't got lots of goals. So there's talk that he could miss out. Now, the other day we saw him have a little bit of a cameo against Brazil, and he didn't feature against Belgium. And I think Gareth Southgate was asked about that, whether he was injury or whatever, and I think Gareth Southgate just said he wanted to see more of Anthony Gordon. Now, this is why people are looking at it going, look, if Anthony Gordon's getting more minutes, does that mean that Gareth Southgate is sort of edging towards Anthony Gordon as his option on the left-hand side of that attack, rather than Marcus Rashford? Also, Phil Foden can play there as well, so maybe Marcus Rashford is going to miss out. Now, Rashford has played a lot of minutes under Gareth Southgate. He has been one of his players. However, he's never truly been first choice. If you look at the tournaments that Gareth Southgate's been the manager for, the World Cup in 2018, he took Marcus Rashford to that. Was never a starter. I think he started in the dead rubber against Belgium, maybe. Didn't really feature in many games. He came on as a sub in some games, scored the penalty against Colombia, of course, in the shootout, but he wasn't a starter. He wasn't a first team member for Gareth Southgate's England squad. Then you go forward to the Euros. Again, doesn't really feature, has a couple of substitute appearances, comes on against Italy in the final to take that penalty. Of course, it didn't work out for him, but was never a first team squad choice. Now you look at more recently, you look at the World Cup as well. It was the same there. Yeah, he got some games. He was actually England's joint top scorer, but he was never sort of nailed on. And you get to the quarter-final, the biggest game of all, and he didn't start him. He gave him 5 minutes. So it's a bit weird with Marcus Rashford and Gareth Southgate in England, in the sense that he is an important player for England, in the sense that he gets minutes, he gets caps, he does feature, but he never tends to start. He never tends to start in those big games. So it wouldn't surprise me if Gareth Southgate did decide not to take him, not even to put him in the squad. I hope that's not the case, because I think Marcus Rashford loves playing for his country, and despite some of the grief he's had playing for his country, I would still like to see him make that squad, because I think he'll come back next summer, or after the Euros, better for it. But we'll have to wait and see. It certainly looks like Kobbie Mainoo has booked his place on the plane. Marcus Rashford, according to reports, it still feels like it's up in the air. I think a lot will be decided, or a lot will depend on what happens between now and the end of the season. If Marcus Rashford can have a really positive end to the season, score goals, maybe help Manchester United get into the Champions League, win a trophy, then he can perhaps nail down his place in Gareth Southgate's England squad. If he struggles like he did at the beginning of the season, then he may end up missing out. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you even care? A lot of Manchester United fans, even a lot of English Manchester United fans, aren't too fussed about what happens with the England squad. But let me know in the comments if you're one of them. Another story doing the rounds. This is a piece in The Athletic on Thomas Ziliakos. Remember him? I think it's Adam Crafton who's done this. Adam Crafton, who's been on the channel. I think he just won an SJA award as well. Well done to him. Fantastic journalist. Done a little bit of a deep dive into Thomas Ziliakos and just the whole thing of what went on with his bid, how it would have worked, who was it. Because if you remember when the Glazers announced this strategic alternatives and all the bids came in, he was one of the most public sort of people who admitted he'd made a bid and he wanted to buy Manchester United. I think he put in about £3.9 billion bid, which he said was fair for the club. But he had this sort of scheme or this idea where he'd buy it and the fans would have a say, and you could go on an app and you could pay some money and you could help decide decisions for, you know, footballing decisions by voting. It just seemed a little bit crazy, to be brutally honest, and it never really got off the ground. He was one of the first ones to publicly announce he was pulling out as well. Also, he's had some right shenanigans going on. He's a wanted man in Singapore, I believe. So I don't know how concrete it was for him ever buying Manchester United. In the meantime, he's tried to buy Inter Milan, or I think he tried to buy Inter Milan, has already put in a couple of bids and then pulled out of that one as well, I think. So just seems like a bit of a strange character. I don't really think there was any chance of him realistically buying Manchester United. But if you do want to read about him, you can read about him in The Athletic. And seems like something out of a soap opera his entire life, really. Trying to buy United, trying to buy Inter Milan, trying to get the fans to buy it with him, trying to get the fans to vote on an app. Being wanted in Singapore. Yeah, it seems like something out of a B movie. Go and check that out if you want. There's just a couple of other stories doing the rounds as well that we have seen recently, and these are more of updates than sort of brand new stories. There's a story in the Express about Kobbie Mainoo's contract. Now, Kobbie Mainoo, obviously, loads of talk and reports and stories about him. The Express saying that Manchester United are in no rush to get him to sign a new deal. Now, Kobbie Mainoo signed a deal, I think it was not the February just gone, February 2023, that could keep him to the club till 2027 with an option for a further year, obviously 2028. Now, there was a story doing the rounds a few weeks ago that United wanted to give him a new deal, but apparently, according to the Express, and there's another story in the Manchester Evening News, United aren't in a rush to do that. I don't think they're going to be offering him a deal during the season. And it makes sense. I mean, look, if United do want to sit down with him and give him an extension or give him a better deal, they can do that in the summer. He's got a lot going on at the minute. He's playing regularly for Manchester United. He's in the England squad. He's done really well for England. There's talk of him going to the Euros, as I just mentioned. I don't think getting him to sign a new deal right now is a priority. But obviously, Manchester United will want to make sure the fact that he's playing for England, the fact that he's playing regularly for Manchester United is reflected in his contract. So, one to keep an eye on, but I'm not getting too concerned about Kobbie Mainoo's contract. We've got him signed on a deal till 2027 with the options till 2028. So, there's going to be a lot of speculation, a lot of reports. But for the time being, I think we can just focus on making sure he's playing regularly for Manchester United and deal with that if it needs dealing with in the summer. Another story doing the rounds, and we've seen this everywhere, but Mike McGrath from The Telegraph, who we had on the channel recently, talking about Jared Branthwaite being a target for Manchester United. We know this. There's another piece in the Metro as well, talking about Branthwaite and Mark Guéhi, who's another player United have been linked with, another centre-back, will cost over 50 million quid, which each, obviously, which is expected. I don't see Manchester United going for both of them. I think if you look at Manchester United, sort of the reports around United recently, seems like Michael Elise has been a big target for United. I don't see us getting Guéhi and Elise from Palace. You look at Jared Branthwaite, he's been heavily linked with Manchester United. I think that is a centre-back target we are in for. So I would expect, I don't know, I'm not ITK, I'll stress that, but from the reports we've been reading, I would expect Branthwaite and Elise to be our main targets in the summer. I'm going to wrap it up there. We're going to be back later on with Off the Bar. We've got loads of videos coming up as well. Also, I was chatting to Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher on Off the Bar. Not Off the Bar, no, I'm talking rubbish. On The Overlap, I covered Adam McCullough, who's away. Went to film The Overlap with the likes of Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville, and a load of rival fans as well. So you can check that out. We'll have that video up later on today. Obviously, we're talking about Eric Ten Hag, Kobbie Mainoo, all that good stuff too. Make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. I've been Jay Motti, outside a pretty cold Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.